Good morning, everyone. Well, I'm broadcasting this morning live on YouTube because Facebook is not working. There's a glitch with Facebook. I don't know what's going on. I usually do my live stream every morning on Facebook, but I tried to get in 3 or 4 times and it wasn't working right, so I'm going to try to work on YouTube today, and then I'll post the link to Facebook. Anyway, we're ready for John chapter 2 today. This is the account of the first miracle of Jesus turning the water into wine. Jesus answered unto them, Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. That's probably one of the most significant verses in the chapter. This is after him driving the money changers out of the temple. And the third day there was a marriage in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there, and both Jesus was called and his disciples to the marriage. And when they wanted wine, the mother of Jesus saith unto him, They have no wine. Jesus saith unto her, Woman, what have I to do with thee? Mine hour is not yet come. His mother saith unto the servants, Whatsoever he saith unto you, do it. And there were there set 6 water pots of stone after the manner of the purifying of the Jews, containing 2 or 3 firkins apiece. And Jesus saith unto them, Fill the water pots with water. And they filled them up to the brim. And he saith unto them, Draw it out, and bear it unto the governor of the feast, and they bear it. When the ruler of the feast had tasted the wine that was made wine, and knew not whence it was, but the servants which drew the water knew, the governor of the feast called the bridegroom, and saith unto them, Every man at the beginning doth set forth good wine, and when men have well drunk, then that which is worse, but thou hast kept the good wine until now. This beginning of miracles did Jesus in Cana of Galilee, and manifested forth his glory, and his disciples believed on him. After this he went down to Capernaum, he and his mother and his brother and his disciples. They continued there not many days, and the Jews' Passover was at hand. And Jesus went up to Jerusalem, and found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves, and the changers of money sitting. And when he had made a scourge of small cords, he drove them all out of the temple, and the sheep and the oxen, and poured out the changers' money, and overthrew the tables. And said unto them that sold doves, Take these things hence, make not my Father's house a house of merchandise. And his disciples remembered that it was written, The zeal of thine house hath eaten me up. Then answered the Jews, said unto them, What sign showest thou unto, seeing that thou doest these things? Jesus answered, said unto them, Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. Then said the Jews, 46 years was this temple in building, and wilt thou rear it up in 3 days? But he spake of the temple of his body. When therefore he was risen from the dead, his disciples remembered that he had said this unto them, and they believed the scripture and the word which Jesus had said. Now when he was in Jerusalem at the Passover and the feast day, many believed in his name, and when they saw the miracles which he did. When Jesus did not commit himself unto them, because he knew all men, and he needed not that any should testify a man, for he knew that was in man. Well, we have here the absolute power of God demonstrated in his Son Jesus Christ. When he turned the water into wine, he drove the money changers out of the temple, and he said that he would raise again after 3 days. He said he would raise the temple, and of course he was speaking of his own body. Now the leaders didn't understand he spoke of his body, because they thought he was speaking of the literal temple that had taken 46 years to build. But later on, after he rose from the dead, the disciples remembered that he had stated that he would do this. Well, we're living in perilous times, and sometimes when we see what's going on in the so-called churches, we'd like to take a cord and drive the money changers out of the temple, wouldn't we? You know, I can't believe all the fundraisers around religious organizations, you know, constantly begging for money. They say they don't beg for money, and then they go on for 3 hours and beg for money. Yeah, well, I hope you all have a good day today. And must have been quite a interesting wedding to attend, especially the disciples knowing that the creator of the universe had taken the elements, the water, and turned it into the best wine that they probably had ever drunk. Well, Christ has raised from the dead. He is seated at the right hand of the Father. Sometimes we look around us, we see what's going on right now in the state of Israel, and we see how that it looks like this is going to escalate into World War III before it's over, because you've got so many parties involved in this mess. You've got the United States involved, you've got Israel involved, you've got Iran involved, and I'm sure Russia and China and Ukraine are involved at arm's length. Hamas, of course, and then you've got 2 million civilians being subjected to absolute terror by Israel. And of course, Israel was subjected to terror by Hamas and their attacks. But you know, this is all prophecy coming into fulfillment. There's always been this ongoing evil spirit in the city of Jerusalem where Christ was betrayed in the temple. And, you know, this long history has never stopped, and evil's still there today in that state of Israel. If you go to the state of Israel, you'll find that it is the most blasphemous, evil place. The propagation of perversion, the propagation of a false religion, the denial that Jesus Christ is the Messiah. But he is alive and well, seated at the right hand of God, and soon to come back to receive his own. May the good Lord be with you today is my prayer. God bless.